Hello, BookTube. I've got a second mail haul for you. Bit of a rarity these days. I'm thinking that probably what happened is that publicists looked ahead at their week and saw, oh, I'm heading out early on Wednesday. I'm not going to be around on Thursday. I'm not coming in on Friday or Saturday. Monday's iffy. Monday I'll probably be traveling. I'll probably be back until Tuesday, so they sent off a few extra things. Never a bad time to do an extra mail haul, right? Who knows what'll be in here? The first one today was great. So let's give it a look. We've got 3 packages here. Let's see what we have here. One of them is these foldable things. Oh, fantastic. Okay, this one comes out in January. It's kind of a known quantity. I love this series. I think a lot of you do too. This is by Jessica Fellows, and this is another Mitford sister murder mystery. This is the Mitford Secret. Just lovely. Look at that. And if I remember correctly, the horrible rumor is that this is the last of the Mitford sisters murder mystery series. This series should not have worked at all. Not at all. And yet it did. All the volumes in this series are wonderful. I haven't read this one at all. Don't have an ebook of it. Yeah, this is the 6th and final book in the Golden Age style Mitford series by Jessica Fellows. Okay. Well, let's see what we have here. Inspired by a real-life murder in a novel filled with intrigue, this book is an irresistible read, perfect for fans of British history, period dramas, and dysfunctional family narratives. Well, the closer you get to World War II, the more dysfunctional the Mitford sisters are going to get, that's for sure, one in particular. As well as a series superfans who, after just a few pages, will feel like they never left the fascinating world of the Mitfords to begin with. It's 1941, and the Mitford household is splintered by the vicissitudes of war. To bring the clan together, maybe for one last time, Deborah, the youngest sister, Debo, invites them to Chatsworth for Christmas, along with a selection of the society's most impressive and glamorous guests. Also invited is their old family friend and former nanny, Louisa Cannon, now a private detective. One night, a psychic arrives, and to liven things up, Deborah agrees that she may host a seance. But light entertainment turns to dark mystery as the psychic reveals that a maid was murdered in this very house, and she can prove it. Louisa steps forward to try to solve the cold case, but with a house full of people who want nothing more than to bury their secrets, will she be able to unmask the murderer, and how deep does the truth go? Here we have... I'm going to be sorry to say goodbye to this series. I really am. I will miss this series. I really enjoyed them. I wonder if anybody could prevail upon Jessica Fellows to keep writing this series. But Deborah Mitford went on to be the Duchess of Devonshire and wrote a number of books that are, some of which I've reviewed. If I remember correctly, I will leave a link to anything that I've written about her. She was chatty, gregarious. She was flighty and beloved, cherished by pretty much everybody that she knew. It was a favorite thing when she was also well known all throughout England. She was just all the Mitfords were. And it was a favorite little joke of President John F. Kennedy when he was calling the British Prime Minister and he was talking about the various international organizations. He would say, how are things with NATO? How are things with CETO? How are things with Debo? So I'll be sorry to see this end. Nice to see that Deborah Mitford has a prominent place in it. But anyway, that's January. The year is starting off with the last Mitford sister story. Then we have a box that is fairly thin, so no big tome in here. What have we got here? Oh, okay. Did we see this already? Maybe not. Oh, well, that's not going to help. That's just an invoice. This is by Scott Fulford, and it is The Pandemic Paradox, How the COVID Crisis Made Americans More Financially Secure. And this is from Princeton University Press. No sheet on it at all, but there's bound to be a bit of description. Yeah, there is a bit of description. Let's see what we have here. A paradoxical title. Made a whole lot of Americans dead, not financially secure. Why most Americans' finances improved during the worst economic contraction since the Great Depression, and the policy choices that made this possible. Okay. In March of 2020, economic and social life across the United States came to an abrupt halt as the country tried to slow the spread of COVID-19. Remember those days? was incredible. It still feels unreal that suddenly everything stopped. It was like musical chairs. Suddenly the music stopped and you just had to live on the food you had in your house. In the worst economic contraction since the Great Depression, 22 million people lost their jobs between mid-March and mid-April. And yet somehow the finances of most Americans improved during the pandemic. Savings went up, debt went down, and fewer people had trouble paying their bills. In this book, economist Scott Fulford explains this seeming contradiction, describing how the pandemic reshaped the American economy. As Americans grappled with remote work, essential work, and closed schools, 3 massive pandemic relief bills, starting with the CARES Act in March 27, 2020, managed to protect many of Americans' most vulnerable. Okay, the author is a senior economist at the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau and is a PhD in economics from Princeton University. And he's taught economics and international studies at Boston College. And he lives in Washington. Okay, well, this comes out in May. I don't want to block the bean. She's very sleepy today for some reason. This comes out in May, and like I mentioned, 2 years ago, we're going to see a flood of pandemic books. It is now a permanent study. It was a major historical event that we all lived through. So people are going to be assessing it 6 ways from Sunday for the next 100 years. So great. 2 books in 2023 that I don't have to worry about. Sorry, but the bean is very sleepy. I don't quite know why. I did force her to go out on a walk very early this morning. I had errands to do this morning, so we went out on a walk that was fairly early. She's not a morning person. She doesn't like morning walks at all, at any time, early or not. In her perfect world, we would only roll out of bed at noon. But she has to do her business, and so we went on a nice leg stretching, very brisk walk, very early, right after dawn. It was enjoyable in a way. I wish that she could see her way clear to that, but it throws her off for the whole day when I have to do that. Even though she does nothing but snooze and play with me all day, so it shouldn't throw her off. At one point on our walk this morning, we came across a little fenced-in area that a lot of people in the neighborhood use as a sort of informal dog park. And there was a dog in that area. His harness and his owner's stuff, the plastic bags and whatnot, was on a table, but there was no owner there. It was just the dog inside the fenced area. And we walked up to it. Frida, of course, she gets very huffy when she sees another dog. She's not aggressive, but she stiffens. What are you doing? Who the hell do you think you are? That sort of thing. And most dogs don't pick up on that. They just see a cute little dog and they think, oh, you'll play with me. And this dog was big, but he was 5 times Frida's size, but he must have been a puppy because he was bouncing all around, running all around, flattening himself in play gestures, wagging his butt in the air. And she was just standing there, my little baby, my little warrior princess, just standing there. What are you doing? Why are you making a display of yourself? Finally, he came over to the fence, hopped up, put his paws on the top of it, and we smooched faces elaborately. He put his nose right here with his big brown eyes just staring at me like, can I go further? Can I take it one more step? And I licked him first, so he knew it was perfectly all right to spooge all over me like that. And then, once they were accustomed to each other, I walked her around, opened the gate, and brought her inside this enclosure. I was a little bit worried that this dog was just there without any human around. And I was also curious to see what Frida would do. I knew that this dog wasn't going to bother her at all. I was just going to try and play with her, and she doesn't play with dogs. She's perfectly okay playing with humans, but she thinks dogs are losers. So I wanted to see how it would go, and sure enough, he started running around, playing with her, jumping up and down, playing with me. Finally, he realized what all the dogs in the neighborhood realized is that they're wasting their time with Frida, and that they should instead just canoodle up to me. So he did. He laid down on the ground, rolled over so I could give him elaborate belly rubs. He was a very pretty boy with a flame of white fur right on his breast and nowhere else. And just as he was getting up and we were sort of collecting ourselves, because Frida, eventually, she started saying to me, can we go on? This loser's just going to keep spazzing out. Can we just keep going? And I bow to my baby's will when she does that. I wish she were friendlier, but I bow to her will. And as we were standing up, the owner came. She had gone off to get coffee and left her dog there. It's no big deal. There's no crime anywhere around here. In retrospect, when I'm thinking about it, I realize it isn't a big deal. I understand. You don't want to drag the dog into a coffee shop to get coffee and wait in line, especially if he's rambunctious. Still, I would never do it. In a million years, crime or no crime, I would never do it. Frida has to be in my sight at all times when we're outside. But we exchanged pleasantries and then left. And that might be why she's all conked out, because that was a lot of excitement, at dawn when she doesn't want any excitement at all. But anyway, we've got one more package. It's a manila envelope. It's quite heavy. Could be a couple of books, which would be great. What have we got? What have we got here? Oh, it is a couple of books. Oh, okay, very nice. This is the finished copy of The Fall of Numenor. Illustrations by Alan Lee. This is there you have Numenor being subsumed in the waters. This is one of those little Tolkien books. This is still wrapped in plastic. One of those little Tolkien books that come out, The Children of Hurin, for instance, and things like that, The Fall of Gondolin, where the editor, in this case Brian Sibley, will go through Tolkien's works, pick out all the narratives that involve this one subject, cobble them all together. Usually there's an introduction and new artwork. There's about 5 of these things. They all look pretty much like this. This is the loveliest one I've ever seen, though. The letters are embossed on both the cover and the spine. Look at that. Look at that. Very nice. No falderall. Just a lovely little... Clearly, these are meant to be given to Tolkien fans as gifts at the holidays, whether it's a gift to themselves or a gift from a well-meaning relative. This is the latest one. This is I've already read the relevant chunks in here. This is a great story, despite what your quite justified impressions might have been of Amazon's The Rings of Power, which is nominally, at least in part, a dramatization of this story. It's botched from beginning to end. It's ridiculous. It's so botched. It's laughable. But Tolkien considered this story to be very important. He lavished a lot of attention on it. So that's great. And the other thing is a new edition of the Silmarillion, also wrapped in plastic. Lovely thing here. It's the die cut cover here, so that this would be, I don't know, should I open this? I probably should, yes. It's got runes on the paper there. Very, very nice. And the signature thing about this is that it has illustrations by Tolkien all throughout. Not by what is it, Naismith or Alan Lee or any of these others, but just him. What have we got here? Let's take a look at how pretty this is. This is kind of the a companion to the Tolkien illustrated edition of Lord of the Rings that came out last year. Oh, okay, no. All right. This is not the die-cut cover. But there is one. There is an edition of this, just like with that Lord of the Rings illustrated by Tolkien. There is a super deluxe edition of this that comes in a box, a blue slipcase, and it has, I believe, the gatefold cover there. And it's this is lovely. This one is lovely on its own, but there is that as well in case this has something in it. Did Tolkien leave me a note? What is this? Oh, it has a map. Very nice. Okay, it's got a tipped-in map. Boy, books don't usually have tipped-in things anymore because machines can't really do that. Does it have anything else tipped into it? Yes, it does. Look at this in the back. It has something else tipped in. What is this? Please don't be just the same map all over again. That would be a little almost. No, it's not. This is so we have before and after. Interesting. Very nice. Very nice. And then we have, let me get you, as long as we're looking through this thing, there are Tolkien illustrations. If I remember correctly, you Tolkien superfans out there will probably know better than I am, but if I remember correctly, this is the first time that this has ever been done in an edition like this. The Tolkien's artwork has been married with his own text. This has I might as well show you the whole thing. This has a cloth bookmark. I believe that the Fall of Numenor does as well. Yeah, the Fall of Numenor also has a cloth bookmark. How lovely. What a lovely thing. I have two hardcover Silmarillions, and now I have this thing. How delightful. Look at that. Just lovely. You've got Tolkien stuff all throughout here. There's Tanaquil, the Peak of Meneltarma. How lovely. Okay, well, you've got these two things. What a great thing! These are a double blast of Tolkien. They are the Tolkien things to have this season. Great, fantastic. All right, well, that was a mail haul worth doing, wasn't it? All right, so we have the Tolkien illustrated Silmarillion and the Tolkien illustrated The Fall of Numenor. These are coming up on Cedarburg Public Library Radio. I leave a link on the videos, and I've also mentioned it a few times. But I am doing a book of the day segment for Cedarburg Public Library Radio, and we talked about the Silmarillion and this particular edition. Actually, both of these books came up in the course of the discussion. Fantastic, a double blast of Tolkien. I don't mind reading Tolkien on Thanksgiving. Maybe I'll read the Fall of Numenor again now that I have the book. Then we have the Pandemic Paradox, how Americans financially benefited from the COVID-19 pandemic, and the Mitford Secret, the last Mitford sister story. Oh, that just breaks my heart. I'm not going to read it. I'm going to be tempted to. A couple of things have tempted me this week to read now, but I'm trying not to get any 2023 stuff in the way. I'm going to leave it until 2023. And plus, a part of me is not eager to read the last of the Mitford sister stories. I'm probably going to want to read all the others as well, reread all the earlier ones. But anyway, that's it. That was the mail, part 2 for today. I don't think there's going to be any mail tomorrow or Friday, so this might have to hold us for a while. But anyway, I'm going to wrap this up. This is unexpected, but I will see you soon. Thank you, BookTube.